Rio de Janeiro is known primarily for two things. One, for its iconic beaches, and two, for carnival, the enormous and iconic celebration that takes place every year right before the beginning of Lent. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a very fun-loving person, okay? But the truth is, I am not typically a beach person, and I am also not typically a huge partier. For me, fun usually means riding up a volcano on horseback, or whitewater rafting into Brazil's Iguazu Falls. Yet, despite all of that, I chose to spend an entire month living in Rio. Am I crazy? I mean, surely that was a mistake, right? My name is Josh, and I am a digital nomad who lives in a different country every single month. Join me as I move into the city of Rio de Janeiro, despite our differences, and learn how my month-long stay might have changed me forever. Now, I definitely don't hate beaches, okay? Beaches are fine, but that's the thing. They're just fine. I've sort of always been of the opinion that beaches anywhere in the world are pretty much the same thing. To me, visiting a beach when visiting a new country is sort of the same thing as going to McDonald's in a new country. Now, Rio's beaches admittedly do hit a little different. Their backdrop is stunning. The city is on just another level of natural beauty. I mean, just take a walk down Leblon Beach and you'll find yourself facing the Two Brothers Hills on one side and the Christ the Redeemer statue on the other. Meanwhile, the people are stunning, okay? This isn't even my opinion. This is just objective fact. And I mean, for those reasons alone, I was obligated to spend at least a few days walking along the shores of Rio's beaches. And, you know, all of that was fine for a while. But what I really wanted out of Rio was something much deeper. And luckily, I had a local friend who would help me out with that. This is my friend Bruno. He grew up in Rio but moved to Europe as a teenager and now lives in London. And so, when I found out that the two of us would be in Brazil at the same time, I was very excited. See, the more I travel, the more I want an authentic taste of the local experience. And oftentimes, it's just not possible. But in Rio, because of Bruno, it was possible. For about a week, while I was in Brazil, my friend Caroline came to visit, and Bruno suggested that we join him and his friend Harry for a samba performance at a place called Bar do Zeca Pagodinho. We arrived, and I quickly realized that literally every single person inside was actually from Brazil. Were there tourists? Yeah, of course, no doubt, but they were Brazilian tourists. Now, I know I said I'm not a huge party person, and that's true, but that veil falls off pretty quickly when the party has cultural implications. Because for me, that's what all of this is all about. They had super affordable drinks, delicious local food, really fun performances of popular Brazilian songs, and of course, everyone in the building was on their feet and dancing at their tables. We stayed for hours, literally right up until they closed, which is a big deal for me. This was a total blast, and I feel like it gave me a small sense on what it means to be a part of community in Rio. But I still had a long way before I was ready to buy in. I dove in headfirst after that. My interest in Brazilian culture was turned up to the max. I wanted to see everything that Rio had to offer. Now, don't get me wrong, there was no way that we were gonna miss out on seeing the Christ the Redeemer statue on Corcovado Mountain. It's literally one of the 7 wonders of the world. But, like many very iconic tourist spots, visiting is a lot. It's crowded, it's hot, there really isn't much shade up there. We waited in line for hours to get in, and once we were there, we were ready to leave in like 5 minutes. Now, Sugarloaf is the other must-visit, very, very famous tourist attraction in Rio. It's that image that you always see with the 2 mountains that are connected by cable cars. And while it was still very touristy, like Corcovado, Sugarloaf was at least still really enjoyable. There's plenty of space to walk around, shopping, food, souvenirs. It really almost feels like an open public park space. Myself and Caroline were extremely lucky to experience an absolutely gorgeous sunset the day we went up there. Now that we had gotten the big tourist sites out of the way, in the following days, I was able to really explore the central neighborhood at length. I think over the course of the month, I came back to explore this area at least 4 or 5 times. At one point, I know that I just stood and watched the trams drive back and forth over the Lapa arches for at least an hour and a half. It's honestly mesmerizing. From the arches, I strolled around the corner and into the Rio de Janeiro Cathedral with its enormous dome shape and its huge, glowing stained glass windows, it is far from a traditional cathedral in almost every single way. But I think that's what I like about it. It is big and it's colorful and it's a little obnoxious and honestly same. I booked a ticket to see live bossa nova music at the Bottles Bar on Beco das Garrafas, which is supposedly the place where bossa nova music was actually invented. It was such an incredible and intimate performance with a small crowd on a Monday night. And from the stage, I actually had a whole conversation with the lead singer about the history of music in New York City and Rio and cross-cultural traditions. It was really cool and just was totally off the cuff. And it is something that I will never forget. That weekend, Bruno brought me and Caroline and Harry to the Gloria Market, which features local artists and craftsmen and merchants all peddling their wares. I bought this. It's called a kanga and I love it very much. This is going to travel with me everywhere. After visiting the market, we shared a cab up to the Santa Teresa neighborhood. It's the bohemian part of town with trams and street art and live music. There's even a very famous and colorful set of stairs called the Escadaria Celaron that you can climb to get there from near the Lapa Arches. I had done so many amazing things in a short period of time. But all good things must come to an end. Shortly after we finished our meal in Santa Teresa, Harry caught a cab to the airport and flew back to London, and Caroline flew home to Baltimore shortly after that. And then the next thing I knew, Bruno's stay in Rio was over as well. And after weeks of exploration and sort of building community, I was back to being on my own. Just me, alone with the city of Rio. There's a word that I really like in Portuguese. It's saudade. It doesn't have a direct translation in English, but it sort of means to yearn or to long for something in a deep and meaningful way. Supposedly, it is a characteristic trait of Portuguese and Brazilian people. The concept really resonates with me a lot, and I've actually thought about it pretty much every day since I heard about it the first time. I am lucky to always get to experience something new and amazing, but also I'm always missing something. A place, a sunset, a restaurant, a friend, family. No matter where I go or who I'm with, there will always be pieces of myself that I've left behind elsewhere, and they're all over the globe. Before I left Rio, I went back to Leblon Beach one last time. This time, it was just me. My friends had left, and the beach was the same, but I was looking at it differently. And so I just sat for hours. I just sat and watched a volleyball game and let the waves wash over my toes until the sun set. And even before I left, I felt a sense of saudade for Brazil. Because what I learned was that it was never really about the beach or the parties. It's about a zest for life and a yearning for connection and shared experience. And who knows, maybe everyone is fighting off this sense of saudade all the time. I know I am. But for better or for worse, now I feel it for Rio too. As much or more than I do for anywhere else. Have you ever felt that way? Let me know down in the comments below. And be sure to like and subscribe for more content from Brazil coming very soon. I actually also made a video about Sao Paulo. Would you maybe want to watch that one too? Maybe? Click here to give it a watch.